guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is probably one of my most requested food videos, and I actually really enjoyed filming it. So I don't know what I'm going to call it just yet, but the meaning behind this video was to do budget-friendly dinners with food alternatives for those that might have an allergy or an intolerance. Because as you guys know, my daughter had a dairy intolerance when she was little. She had an intolerance to the protein in cow's milk, and I just loved finding recipes that I could make for the family but change for myself, because I was exclusively breastfeeding at the time, that wouldn't affect her. So today's video is all about budget food alternatives, and we're focusing on dinners. So I have got 7 recipes for you, so you can do your week's worth of shopping and have 7 meals ready to go for dinner on a budget. Now, I just wanted to do a bit of a disclaimer. It depends on the time of the year, where you do your shopping and where you get your produce from. But overall, each of these meals came in at under $5 a serve. A lot of them came in a lot cheaper, and some of them came in still under the $5, but at the higher end of that $0 to $5 mark. I didn't want to put a price point on each one. I did do the math, but then I thought, well, if you're watching this video when food's out of season, or you live in a place where the produce is more expensive or a lot more affordable, it's kind of sending the wrong message, I thought. So I just want to put a blanket across it that all the meals I have made are under $5 a serve. I do give alternatives to make the meat ones vegetarian. I do have some dairy-free options, egg-free options, nut-free options. I'm not an expert in this area. I'm still learning things as I go. My daughter doesn't have an intolerance to milk anymore, but we do have family friends that have allergies to nuts and eggs and a few other things. And it seems to be a very common thing these days for young children to be coming out with intolerances and allergies. So I hope this video is helpful and useful to you. If you make a recipe and change it in any way, let me know in the description below. Tag me on Instagram, Her Ordinary Mum. I would love to see your variation of what I make. All these meals have been inspired from videos I have watched, books I have read, things I have just made up in the kitchen because I've had no food in the fridge, or I've had some thoughts on something and wanted to give it a go, and it actually turned out quite well. Also, if you did like this video, let me know if you want to see other things similar to this. I could do like a lunch one, an all vegetarian one, an all allergy free one, an expensive one. Let me know below, because I'm happy to look into it. I love making food videos, and this one, it took over a week to do, but I really enjoyed it, and I hope you did too. So if you want to see what we cook, how I cook, keep watching. All right, I'm doing our first dinner prep of the week, so dinner 1 out of 7. So tonight I'm doing a Moroccan couscous salad, and I'm going to serve it with some slices of beef. I picked up this roast beef here, so I got almost 1.5 kilos, and it was $17.23. I have got some chicken stock to cook the couscous in. You just follow the packet instructions there. It's usually just hot water. I'm going to cook it in chicken stock. That's optional. You could just cook it in the water. That's fine. Seasonings, I've got cumin seeds, paprika, turmeric, and some cinnamon. I'm going to roast off a pumpkin, carrot, and sweet potato, maybe even the onion. And then in a frying pan, I'm going to cook off the capsicum and a zucchini. Make that into the couscous salad, and I've also got to dress it some Australian style feta. So it's a little bit more saltier, crumblier, and more solid in texture than our usual Danish feta. I'm going to get this on to cook now. It needs to cook for about 1.5 hours, 2 hours, and it's 2:15. So the time that's done, it's rested, I get myself together to cook the food, to serve up the food. That'll be done. I am cooking in my silicone mat, so environmentally friendly there. So I'm just going to get this all prepped and slowly start the process of getting dinner done.
Okay, so the roast will be for about 2 hours, the veggies for about 40 minutes. I've cut the veggies into like bite-sized pieces. Once the veggies are cooked, I'm just going to leave them in a container because I want the salad to be like warm, not hot, not cold. Once the meat's done, it will rest. So that's all the prep I can pretty much do for now.
Let's see how loud I can talk because I'm talking over a little boy that's playing with Lego. But right now I'm going to make, which will be for the next few nights, a homemade tomato sauce, which is going to be for the creamy chicken pasta recipe. Because I've got the oven on and I got half an onion left over from this recipe, I thought I may as well prep it now. This is great to go in the fridge for a few days and it's great to freeze. So what you're going to need are some ripe tomatoes, fresh or jarred garlic, basil and oil. And it's pretty much to your tastings. I don't give ratios on things. We love it very garlicky with lots of basil. So I'm gonna cut all this up, put these into baking trays and let them bake. As I said before, these freeze really well, but I'm pretty certain we're gonna have these for dinner this week. So one will go in the freezer and one's gonna stay in the fridge for our creamy pasta chicken dish. Okay, I have taken the roasted veggies out of the oven. You can actually see, they actually kind of shrivel up quite a bit. So you could probably add more if you want more. But in this pan right now, I'm literally, it's on a medium to high heat with a bit of oil. They're all gonna go in. I'm gonna let that cook and sweat out for a little bit and then I'm gonna add my spices.
Showing off, don't wanna have to wait tonight, better off, I'm gonna find my way tonight.
Okay guys, it's the next day, but let's just rewind for a second. In last night's dinner, I actually forgot to put in my Australian feta on top of the Moroccan couscous salad. I think I'm so tired lately because the kids aren't sleeping, so there you go. Tonight's dinner, we are making beef stroganoff. So I'm going to show you the ingredients that you need. With this one here, again, you can make it vegetarian. You can make it, well, it is egg free, it is nut free. I'm probably going to serve ours with rice. So if you served it with noodles, I usually serve it with egg noodles, but to make it egg free, I'm actually going to serve it with rice tonight. To be honest, I don't know how to make this one dairy free because you do need cream. So look, if you are a dairy intolerant or dairy allergy person, I'm very sorry, but this one I just don't really have an alternative for at the moment. But let me just show you the ingredients that we're cooking with tonight. This is just $10 stir-fry beef strips from Coles. You could get this cheaper if you bought chuck steak and cut it yourself. I have gone for the easy option. You will need some cream, onion, mushroom, spinach, salt and pepper, Dijon mustard, and some garlic. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to prep some, prep tonight's pretty easy. I'm cutting the mushrooms up and I'm cutting the onion up and we'll be cooking it. Oh, you also need rice. So whatever you want to serve it with. So I'm serving ours with rice tonight. You could use noodles like I said before. This is a very simple dinner and you could literally throw it together quite quickly. You can always substitute things. So if you are a vegetarian, put more mushrooms in. I like putting in spinach because it just sort of gives more greens to the meal. We do serve broccoli, steamed broccoli on the side, and the kids will be having steamed carrots on the side. That's just how we get more veggies into our meal. So again, you can substitute things. If you want more onion, put more onion in. If you want, you can take it out. But let's just get a little prep done now. I am planning to go for a walk, which may or may not happen depending on this weather. Let's do a little prep now. I've got a little man to pick up in an hour from daycare, and then we'll get the cooking started. Okay guys, walk done, and I'm about to start cooking dinner. So come over to the hot plate. I have got this lovely pan on a high heat. I'm going to add a little bit of oil. When that gets nice and hot, I'm going to cook off the meat. Okay guys, I've just got the rice on the bottom, the beef stroganoff on top, and I've just gotten some spring onions from the garden and seasoned with pepper. But that is a very filling, flavoursome dinner for under $5 a serve. Okay guys, tonight's dinner we are going to be making, I'm just going to call it a tomato cream pasta dish. I don't really know what it is. It's literally a dish I made a little while ago, and I had a bunch of leftovers in the fridge. My son was begging for pasta, and we had just had spaghetti bolognese, and I was kind of over spaghetti bolognese, and I came up with this. So let's just get straight into it. You're going to need cream. So this is the other half of the cream that we used in the other cooking for the beef stroganoff. This is the tomato sauce, the tomato paste, whatever you want to call it. We made in, I think it was the first or second one. So I had one of those in the freezer. Going to use one of those. Some cherry tomatoes. I'm going to put in some capsicum. I'm also going to put in some spinach. I would also be putting in some mushrooms, but I've run out. You're going to need some pasta. I'm just using spaghetti. You could use fettuccine. You could use spiral pasta. Whatever your kids like to get this into them, the better. Now, I usually do this vegetarian, but my husband does like meat, so I am going to be using one breast of a chicken, an onion, and I've got some beans in the fridge, so let's chop those in. Guys, this is a really simple dinner. You could probably make this within 10-15 minutes of getting home from work. You could probably put the pasta on and make the veggie sauce all at the same time. It is that simple. Now, with all my recipes, you can make variations to it. You can make it vegetarian by not putting in the chicken. You can take out spinach. I prefer mushrooms. I don't have any. I'd love to put mushrooms in. You don't have to put the capsicum in. You could put in more greens if you wanted to. You could put in some zucchini. Ooh, I think I have zucchini in the fridge. I have a zucchini. Let's chuck that in. You can pretty much do whatever you like. You do kind of just wing it pretty much with the veggie side of things. I've got gardeners out the back, I'm sorry. So because it is quite an easy one, I'm actually going to get it all cooked up now, and then when I pick my son up from daycare in just over an hour, all I have to do is turn the pan back on to heat it up, and I can feed my little munchkins, and hopefully they're not going to get hangry at me. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is we're going to poach the chicken. I like to multitask things. I've got 4 breasts. 3 of those are going to be for my husband's lunches, but we're going to poach them all up now. Once that pan is nice and hot, we're going to put in the veggies just to sort of cook them off a little bit, and then we're going to add the sauce, get it to cook through, and then add our cream. that is it. And then you're going to put your chicken in if you're going to do any sort of meat, and then you're going to add your noodles at the end. If you didn't want to do chicken and you still wanted meat, you could do ham, prosciutto, a salty kind of a cured meat would be quite nice with this. Wouldn't do like a salami, but in the ham kind of a category would be quite nice. And as you'll see, the sauce down here might be a little bit thick now, so I'm just going to add a little bit of the water from the noodles just to help make it a bit more of a sauce. You'll also notice that I have used the same pot that I put the chicken in because I'm one for reducing waste, as I've got a family to attend to and I just don't like doing dishes. Nothing wrong with putting the noodles in the same pot that the chicken was in, because the dish has got chicken in it. So guys, I thought I was filming, so I've literally just put the pasta in with the chicken, sauce mixture, and there we go. Okay, so tonight's dinner, we're going to be doing a sweet and sour chicken, and I wanted to give an option of a meal that actually uses a jar, but I'm going to show you how to beef a jar dinner up to actually make it a little more flavoursome. So for tonight, you will need some sweet and sour sauce. This is the jar of the Canton one. We do like this one. We'll be adding in pineapple, an onion, carrots, chicken, and some red capsicum. So I'm using chicken breast in the dinner tonight. This is actually the chicken I cooked up last night. I'm going to put a little bit of that into my pot. Doesn't matter that it's already pre-cooked, and if you haven't pre-cooked it, you can put it straight into the pot uncooked with all your ingredients and it still cooks just fine. So I'm going to cut my capsicum, my carrots and my onion just into like thin little slices, because I want it to be sort of easy to eat and not too chunky, and the chunkier it is, the longer it takes to cook. The pineapple I'm just going to drain and put in as is. Now, as all my recipes, you can change what you put in and take out. It's up to you. I just find with this sauce here, it's already got these ingredients in it, so I'm kind of just beefing it up to, one, make the meal go further, and two, just bring out more flavour in it. I like to serve ours with rice. Kids really enjoy it. This is a meal I like to make. This one's actually very quick to do. That's why it's handy to always have like a jar on hand. I can just add a couple more veggies that I've already got prepped in the fridge, chuck the sauce in. I've got my rice and my chicken already cooked. So if I was in a rush, I literally could have done that in 5 minutes. Get it on to warm up while I'm cooking the rice, and dinner's done. So technically, my dinner's done. I'm gonna put this on to slowly warm up now, and then when it's time for dinner, all I have to do is cook my rice. Okay guys, we are on to the next day of cooking. I'm working against the clock because I've got children who aren't sleeping today. So actually probably not a bad dinner to do because it's a very quick and easy dinner. I wasn't gonna do this one because everyone knows how to make spag bowl, spaghetti bolognese, but I had some tips that I wanted to share with you. I made this on my Instagram page on my stories ages ago, like months and months ago, and I had a lot of mums reach out saying it was a fantastic because they were able to get veggies into their toddlers. So the spag bowl I make is great because you can pack in a bunch of veggies. You can make it vegetarian, it's nut free, egg free, so you can make it vegan if you want to. So I thought I'd share it with you and the tips that I give along the way. So like we've done before, let's check out our ingredients. So I use beef mince. If you don't want to use beef mince, you can use lentils, you can use chickpeas, you can use a different kind of meat if you wanted to. Now this one here, this is the Coles Australian beef mince. This is actually 800 grams. I'm going to cut this in half and I only use 400 and I beef it up with lots of veggies. I like to use a jar of bolognese sauce. This is the brand I like to use. It's just from Coles. 2 tins of tomatoes, a carrot which we'll grate, zucchini which we will grate. I'm going to use some broccoli, an onion which we will dice, and some garlic. Now these are just the ingredients that I put in because this suits my family and we love it. If you don't like zucchini, you don't have zucchini, don't use it. If you love garlic, put more into it. This is a very versatile one. Again, with the meat, if you don't want the meat, you can just have it full of veggies, so bulk up with more vegetables. Do 2 carrots, do 2 zucchinis, do some peas, some corn, more broccoli, some cauliflower. My tip is you grate all your veggies so it actually sort of reduces down really nicely into the sauce, and for children they can't see it and really taste it, and it's a nicer way of serving than having it than having it too chunky. The other option for vegetarians is if you put in chickpeas, lentils. You could do like red kidney beans, for example. They would go quite nicely with it. So this one is a very versatile meal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on a frying pan, get that heated up, cut all the veggies, and I'm going to show you how simple this is, to the point where you're just going to go, that doesn't look right, but trust me, it works. And I'll literally just let that simmer on a medium sort of heat now until the sauce reduces. And all I have to do is I make my homemade garlic bread, which I will show you, and cook up some pasta. My kids love this dinner and I don't mind serving it because it's full of veggies. I know they're going to eat it, and my son's nuts about pasta at the moment. So this will be a massive win for dinner tonight. Serve it with cheese. If you are dairy free, you can serve it with nutritional yeast, which is quite nice on top. It's got like a crunchy kind of a texture to it, bit of a nutty, cheesy flavour. Okay, I'm back. We have not had a good afternoon with the children, so I'm gonna see how far I can get. And if they get too noisy and distracting, I'll do a voiceover. But what we're gonna do now is make some homemade garlic bread. This is included in the under $5 per serve. Some garlic bread. I'm gonna show you the mince and how it's reduced down. I've had it slowly simmering and I turned it off an hour ago, I think I did. And then pretty basic, we're gonna cook some pasta. So I'm gonna get the garlic bread on. I keep it really basic and you'll see how I do it. You will need some garlic, butter, and I like to put some Italian mixed herbs on top. Goobie on me. I just thought I'd show you the alternative to making this meal. So I've just got some grated Colby cheese. I do have Parmesan, but I just want it too strong for the kids to eat. This is nutritional yeast. Vegan, gluten-free, salt-free, sugar-free. This would not contain, it's got no nuts in it. Oh, here we go. This product contains no salt, sugar, no egg, milk, gluten, wheat, corn, no starch, no soy, artificial colors, flavorants. So this is a really good alternative though that do have the allergies. I got this, I'm pretty sure, from Coles, because that's where I shop. Very small possibility I got this from Woolworths, but I'm pretty sure I got this from Coles. It's not super cheap, but you do not need a lot of it. A little sprinkle goes quite well. And a fun fact, when I had to go dairy-free, I found out that this sort of a thing here, nutritional yeast, was used way back when. And this is gonna sound, I'm watching my child over there who's crawling on the floor and he shouldn't be. Not to come across rude or anything, but apparently this was a poor person's alternative to dairy or cheese when they couldn't afford or be able to store cheese in refrigerators. They used to use this because it's got a nutty, kind of a cheesy flavor, and it's crunchy. So cheese adds like a creamy texture. This adds like a crunchy texture, if that makes sense. What would you like, darling? So there's a fun fact for you. Hi guys, today we're going to be doing my pulled pork. I have been requested by so many of my Instagram followers to do this. It is a stuffed sweet potato with pulled pork, so I thought I'd show you today. Sorry, little man wanted some more morning tea. So I don't do fancy cooking things in the kitchen. I don't have a pressure cooker, I don't have a slow cooker. So for me today, I am just gonna use this pot, a large pot. You probably need to be home for the day to have it cooking in the pot, because I'm gonna have it on the element cooking all day. I don't like going out with the element on, but if you had a pressure cooker, I've never used one before, I'm guessing you can do it a lot quicker. So let me show you what we need today. So this is just over 2 kilos of boneless shoulder pork. You will need some brown sugar. I put in a little bit of coriander seed, a tiny bit of celery salt, and some cayenne pepper. It is totally up to you on the spices that you use, depending on your flavors, your taste buds, and so forth. 1 brown onion, and I like to add celery because I put in the celery salt, it just brings out the flavor, and it's another kind of vegetable I'm gonna get into the kids. Okay guys, so it's pretty simple. I'm gonna take all the packaging off the pork and put it into the pot. Now, as you guys know, I don't really do quantity of things because it is kind of down to taste buds, but I do like to put 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. I just find this helps to sweeten it, act as a bit of a marinade, and it's really good seasoning. I'm gonna put in a little bit of cayenne pepper, a little bit of celery salt, and by little I probably mean like, you know, a couple of shakes. This is very salty, so just be mindful if you do use it. And some ground coriander seeds. My husband hates coriander, so I don't put a lot in. I'm gonna cut up my celery into chunks, my onion into chunks, and pop that into the pot. Guys, that is it. I'm gonna put this on to cook for a very slow temperature for a few hours. You do not need to add oil, you do not need to add water, purely for the fact that the pork has got that fat rind on it, and that reduces down and it acts as like the steamer, the liquid for the pot. So that is all you need. Now in here you could add zucchini, you could grate some carrot if you wanted to. I'd try and stick to more of your onion, celery. You could do celeriac, that probably wouldn't be too bad for here, but I probably wouldn't get carried away with too many veggies, purely for the fact that when we cook the sweet potato and how we dress it, these veggies complement it quite well. So I'm gonna put this on to cook now, and this is early morning. I'm gonna come back in the afternoon and you're gonna see what this turns into. Okay guys, it's been a few hours, so I just thought I would have a look. Oh, it smells so good. So I don't know if you can really see, but the onion and celery have almost whittled down to nothing. And then if I just get my fork, let me give you a close-up, hang on a sec. I've actually turned the pot off, but if I get my fork, you know this is cooked when the meat just literally falls apart. And that's how you get your pulled pork. This top layer of fat here, I'm not gonna keep in there, I will remove. I just wanted to show you. It literally just falls apart. Now you'll see all the juice. See all the juice in the bottom of the pan. Do not remove that. What I'm gonna do is shred the pork. I'm going to take this skin out, and then I'm just going to let it sort of soak in the juice, and the meat will actually soak majority of that up, because that's where all your flavour is from your seasoning. See how this literally just is just falling to bits? I love it. So right now I've just got my pan off. I'm just going to let that sit. When I'm ready, I'm going to put this into my sweet potatoes. That can just sit there. It can get to room temperature, it can go cold. This is great for freezing because you do make such a large batch of it. I've put so much of this in the freezer already, and we've had so much to eat now. So later on I'm going to cook the sweet potato and we'll go from there. Okay guys, we're up to cooking our sweet potato. This is pretty basic. Usually I like to get a medium-sized sweet potato. This one is quite large, so I'm actually going to cut this in half. But usually you would just get some good medium-sized sweet potatoes, prick them with a fork, and we're going to bake them on a tray. This one's large. I'm going to cut it in half and we're going to go from there. I've got my silicone baking tray, so I'm very environmentally friendly. I've got no baking paper waste, no alfoil waste. My sweet potato has been washed. I wash them when they come in from the groceries. I'm just going to cut this one in half. We're going to prick it with a fork just to help release the steam from it, and we're going to bake it in the oven. I bake mine at about 160 degrees. Depending on the size of the sweet potato, depends on how long it takes to cook. You'll know it's cooked, and you want it nice and soft when you stick a knife in it, and it's nice and soft inside. You don't want any of it to be firm because it'll be undercooked. So to fill your baked sweet potato, you're going to use your pulled pork as like your main filler. If you're vegetarian, I think they're called jackfruit, and it's got that same sort of texture as a pulled pork. That would be my recommendation for it. If you don't want to put any sort of meat into it, you could just keep it all vegetarian and fill it with a lot more vegetables. But the filling that we use, I'm going to show you. Now we only had this the other night, so I've still got leftovers in my containers, but you're going to need some corn, red kidney beans, cherry tomatoes, avocado, and some sour cream. I'll do a voiceover here because the kids were actually quite noisy in the background. It is dinner time. But as you can see, I've taken the sweet potato out of the oven and it's nice and soft inside. What I like to do is scoop out a little bit of the sweet potato to kind of create like a boat for the filling to go into. I then put the pulled pork into the sweet potato boats. I put a little bit of the red kidney bean on top, and I just like to put it back into the oven just so the red kidney beans, because they're a soft texture, warm up, and just to warm up the pulled pork because it has been sitting out on the cooktop for a little bit, just so it's a nice warm meal. Guys, we are going to be doing chicken Kievs tonight, homemade chicken Kievs. This is a very simple dinner, but I thought it was really good to show because one, it's affordable, and two, it probably suits quite a few people's palates because it is quite a bland kind of meal, if that makes any sense. Now, just very quickly with this one here, chicken Kievs, I can't really give you a meat-free option for it. So this one here, I can give you dairy-free. It is nut-free, it is egg-free, but apart from that, I can't do meat-free on this one. So if you do make this as a meat-free option, please let me know down below. I'd like to know what you've done. So let's have a look at our ingredients. So you're going to need some chicken mince. I buy this in a bulk pack and it works out to be $5 for 500 grams, so quite affordable. Some garlic, butter. If you want to go dairy-free, you can use the Nutlex spread. Some Italian herbs. This is optional. I do like it for flavour. And to make the crumb, I'm just going to use 2 pieces of bread that I'm going to toast and then put through the NutriBullet to blitz to breadcrumbs. I'm actually going to store mine into just a glass baking tray until I'm ready to cook them, because I'm actually doing this quite ahead of time today. Let's get started. So what I'm going to do with the chicken mince is I'm going to open it up, and I'm actually going to get my hands and mush it together to make it more of like a muddy kind of texture, so I can form it into the balls and put our mixture in. Now, if you are using room temperature butter, which I'm not, mine has come straight out of the fridge, I'm actually going to cut this into little knobs of butter and place inside the chicken patties.
then going to get my teaspoon and add in a teaspoon of garlic to every one. And then what I like to do is I put a tiny bit of mixed herbs in it, just a little bit, because it is quite a powerful flavour. I did put quite a bit in the last time I made these, and it was too much, so just a little bit. Again, this is optional. And then what you're going to do with the second half of your mince, I literally just keep mine in the tray it comes in. Again, I'm not wasting dishes. Is I'm going to make little patties again, and we're going to sit them on top of these. So now probably comes the sticky, tricky part. What we need to do is we kind of need to seal these. So you can probably see some of them have got like gaps in them. As soon as you start baking, they're gonna fall apart, and we've got to get the breadcrumbs on them. So what I need to do is you need to get both your hands, make sure they're nice and clean, and we're gonna cut these into balls, and we're gonna put them with the breadcrumbs, put them back in here, and when we're ready, I actually bake these in the oven. So let's just see how we go.
These in a preheated oven at 180 degrees for about 15 minutes.